Assalamu alaikum. My name is Kawther Mohammed, and I am going to be presenting an overview on cutting-edge tools in TESOL research. In order to ascertain what impacts second language acquisition, or SLA, TESOL researchers need reliable tools to assess language proficiencies among multilingual learners. These are educators or people in teaching English to speakers of other languages. Historically, running a quick database search, a lot of the assessment tools that have been used in the past for language proficiency, specifically English proficiency, are the Woodcock-Johnson or Woodcock-Munoz language surveys, the WIDA class, the World Class Instructional Design and Assessment, and the Peabody Picture vocabulary test. These have been used frequently over the past couple of decades, but we're finding that these assessment tools are time-consuming and old. So we're hoping to find research tools or data collection tools that are more advanced and applicable to today's global contexts. The characteristic that makes these tools that I'll be discussing cutting edge is mostly attributed to the fact that they involve artificial intelligence to some degree. Whether they are completely AI or they feature AI, that is the selling point in these assessment tools. But also they follow similar or comparable assessment standards or scoring standards so that we can see some type of uniformity in data if the assessment tools are using similar scoring standards. This is a conceptual diagram displaying the tools based on their categories, but also the degree of which AI is prevalent in them. The darker the node, the more prevalent AI is in the tool, and they are divided by assessments or evaluation as well as classroom tools. There are a lot of scoring standards and scoring frameworks out there, and their names are very long. So these are the acronyms for the assessment tools or the assessment scoring standards that I'll be discussing throughout the presentation. We have the Common European Framework of References, the Test of English as a Foreign Language Internet-Based Test, also known as TOEFL, IBT, and this is readily known by international students seeking to apply to English-speaking universities, the Global Standard English, the World Class Instructional Design and Assessment, English Language Development, or known as WIDA ELD to K-12 TESOL educators, the International English Language Testing System, and finally, the American Council on Teaching of Foreign Languages. The assessments are also broken down by the standard framework, the scoring standard framework that they use. So many of the tools are categorized by one scoring standard, but some of them do indicate that they align with other standards. So we have the tools that are completely AI and featuring AI mostly show us the scoring standards for the Common European Framework Reference, the Test of English as a Foreign Language Assessment, and the Global Standard English. But we do find, and you'll hear later on in the presentation, that there are comparable or aligned scores and standards that are not specifically these, but they do align with these. The tools that are completely AI are Hallo AI, Versant by Pearson, Duolingo English Test, and SpeechRater by ETS. And these are designed for the purpose of hiring in the workforce and also program placement at the post-secondary level. Hallo is a language assessment tool and AI tutor in over 50 languages. And this is one of the characteristics that sets it apart from the rest of the tools that I'm going to discuss. It has over 54 languages. The other tools only are English-based. And it can monitor the data of those who are being recruited for the position, or it can provide proficiency scores that align with the Common European Framework references. Versant by Pearson. We know Pearson is a common assessment company, and Versant is one of their newer tools that assess only in speaking and listening, and it is powered by AI, but it is only available in English. And it uses automated scoring models for the score reports. And their scoring standards align with the Common European Framework reference. However, they do use the Global Standard English scoring framework. Duolingo English Test is a computer adaptive proficiency assessment. It uses automated scoring algorithm for the writing and speaking portions of the assessment, and logistic regression classifiers for the elicitation and dictation portions of the assessment. It does align, or it does use the Common European Framework references for standards for scoring. However, it does compare its scores as well to TOEFL IBT, so the test of English as a foreign language assessment. So you get a wider range of scores, but they are all aligned to each other. SpeechRater by ETS is another assessment tool. ETS is the trademarker of the test of English as a foreign language internet-based test, or TOEFL, and its standards. It is a practice assessment for TOEFL, and it assesses speech features like pronunciation and vocabulary, and it uses equal percentile, or has equal percentile linking of their scoring standards. So while they use the TOEFL scoring standards, it does align with the International English Language Test System scores as well. Assessment tools that feature AI to some degree are marketed more toward classroom practitioners, and they're used specifically for progress monitoring and English assessment or proficiency assessments. So first we have Lexia English, which was created by the same people who created Lexia Core and Lexia Power Up. Read 180, created by HMH, as well as Criterion Online Writing Evaluation System, created by ETS. Lexia English is an AI speech tutor, and it can populate data sets for individual students, classrooms, schools, and entire districts. So us to be more cutting edge than the other tools, not just because of the AI features, but because of how vast the data sets are. And it can provide us with more rich themes if we can look at these data sets across different contexts. And they use the WIDA ELD scoring standards, but the WIDA ELD standards have been found to align well with the Common European Framework references as well. Read 180 is an online tutor, and it uses an AI tool named AMIRA, which measures fluency. It assigns a computer adaptive test called the growth measure, and it assigns instantaneously a proficiency score. And the exceptional use of this application would be to use the app, the software. It will monitor the student's data and it identify areas of intervention. However, in research, it could be used to populate data of proficiency scores on large numbers of sample populations. They do use their own scoring standards called Scholastic Rating Intervention. Criterion is an AI-powered feedback system for writing, and it evaluates English writing proficiencies. It is effective it's most effective when it is used in conjunction with human intelligence, because it is intended to be used in the classroom by teachers, but it does provide instant feedback on writing and can guide students through the writing process and provide proficiency scores in writing as well. And they use the TOEFL scoring standards because it was created by ETS, and we know that ETS trademarks is the trademarker of the TOEFL assessment and scoring standards. It's important to note that these assessment tools are most effective when they're used on specific populations, and the populations are not divided age groups. So some assessment tools will be more effective on post-secondary multilingual learners, whereas other assessments will be more effective on elementary MLs. And it's also important to note that secondary MLs are divided into two groups here because some of the assessments are geared more toward academic skills for college readiness, and other assessments are not. So you don't want, same goes for adult MLs. We have post-secondary MLs, but we also have multilingual learners who are not college bound, and you don't want to provide them an assessment that will assess academic language skills if they haven't had academic language experience. So you would have to choose carefully what part of the assessment to provide if these are your sample populations. Potential applications include the systemization of instruments, because we can create uniform scoring standards or have uniform scoring standards. And because the scoring standards are uniform or aligned, it can allow for us to compare more data sets across studies, a richer analysis of, or a wider analysis or wider data sets of content research or literature reviews. It also can provide us with rich pre and post data collection if the goal of the study is to measure proficiency growth after certain pedagogies or after certain strategies or after certain teacher perception exposures. So it can provide us timely data at the pre and post level of research. It can also ensure efficiency, as a lot of these softwares provide data dashboards. And through the data dashboards, it is easier to discern themes among proficiencies that can be later added to code in coding softwares. As well as it opens the door for practitioners to turn into researchers, practitioner-turned researchers from the classroom. A lot of these applications are accessible to teachers as it is, and it will create an opportunity for teachers to discover new theories and pedagogies since they are already using the applications in the classroom. Some of the implications of the tools involve, building more human connection or focusing more on human connection, the human connection piece of qualitative research. They claim unbiased scoring, but this will get discussed later on in the presentation, as well as culturally responsive practices, especially with Lexia English, as the entire software was designed to feel more comforting to the multilingual learners, the newcomers especially, as the characters resemble the students who are using them and they sound like the students who are using them. Here we have Versant, have positive implications. There are also limitations of the tools. Accent bias is one of them. Read 180 and SpeechRater both assess proficiency or pronunciation, and this propagates accent bias. And this is not asset-minded thinking. This is deficit-minded thinking. This could impact the results of language proficiency scores. There's also a lack of cultural competency and a lack of context in some of the assessments. And if the context in the cultural framework of the questions is based on a majority race or ethnicity, those who are coming from minority backgrounds, their proficiency scores could be impacted. And this is something that needs to be taken into consideration and not taken lightly by researchers who plan to use the tools. The integration of artificial intelligence can significantly enhance the effectiveness and efficiency of research, evaluation, and data collection. While many are marketed toward businesses and educational institutions, Hallo AI, Versant by Pearson, SpeechRater, and Duolingo, they can provide precise and timely evaluations of language proficiencies that can be utilized for research across all the language domains, especially at the post-secondary level or post-secondary sample populations. While teachers are the target audience of Lexia English, Read 180, and Criterion, the use of AI through adaptive learning and assessment and progress monitoring can also be used as a unique tool for systematic evaluation of English proficiency. So as diverse as the needs of multilingual learners are, the integration of AI has proven to be just as diverse. However, the needs of global MLs expand, there's no doubt that AI should adapt and hopefully will adapt to the ever-changing, unique needs of our world learners who are multilingual learners. Thank you.